from Plans Meet Paper, and today I'm here to show you my 2018 planner setup. You can see I'm in a new binder, which I'm really excited about. I just got this for Christmas. It is a Filofax Ochre Malden in personal size. So I'm going to show you guys what I've got going on in here for 2018. So when I open it up, you can see that it's not quite lying flat yet. I'm still kind of training it to lie flat when it's open. But I don't have really much of anything in these front pockets at the time being. All I've got is these sticky notes and these page flags. The zipper pocket and everything else is empty. I will put my credit cards and ID cards in here after the video because I do use my binder as a wallet. But for the sake of the video, I just took those out. In the rings over here on the right-hand side, the first thing I've got is a dashboard. It just is a clear flyleaf with a printed floral design behind it. It's more floral on the back. I've got a picture of my husband and I at our wedding, which just makes me happy. I always have that in my planner if you've seen any of my previous videos. I've got my 2018 yearly goals right up here at the front. Really, I just think it's important to look at these often, so I keep them right in the front of my planner. And I also try to keep my goals really simple. You can see I've covered up some of them because some of them are quite personal, but I did want to show you kind of the basic design. So first off, I just have this printable and all of my printables in my Etsy store, which is called Plans Meet Paper, and I'll put a link to it down below. But this printable, the yearly goals printable, basically just has several hexagons, and what I do to write my goals out is I just put the category up on the top of the hexagon, and then I try to keep my goals as simple as possible because I break them down further on a quarterly and monthly basis. So for example, I left my home goal not covered up, and basically for my home and my housekeeping and all of that, I just want to remember that my little habits add up. Things that I do every day, small things, make a huge difference in how I maintain my home. So I want to make sure I'm doing 15 minutes of homekeeping, maintaining, cleaning, that kind of stuff every day, all year long. And that is my goal for that category of my life. I've also got a work goal, a health goal, a fitness goal, a personal goal, and a spiritual goal, and those are covered up down here at the bottom. On the next page, this is my Q1 breakdown of my goals. So this is where I try to get a little bit more specific or give myself kind of like a benchmark for each of my goals for the first quarter. So again, since a lot of my goals are private, I did cover them up, but I did keep my home goal uncovered. So I am planning on trying to do 15 minutes a day, every day, as much as I can to get my little habits to add up for my home. And so to start that off here at the very beginning of the year, I just want to do something for my zone cleaning every day. So you know what, if I don't quite make it up to 15 minutes every day, that's fine. Or if I do more some days and less other days, that's fine. But I want to do something every single day, including the weekends. I just want to do a little something because I know that when I do a little every day, it helps in the long term and it makes it so it doesn't get overwhelming. So that's for Q1, my breakdown of all my different goals for the rest of the page. I've also got more lined paper here, which I will use for Q2, Q3, etc. throughout the rest of the year. I've got a 2018 yearly view. Again, all of these printables are available on my Etsy store. If you are interested, check out the link below. There's just lined paper on the back of these yearly goals. And here on this printout of 2018, I'm going to track my husband's PTO, paid time off for his job. So I'll just circle which days he takes off, and that way, as the year progresses, it'll be easy for us to see how much time off he has left. So that's blank for now, but I'll probably just circle each day that he takes off throughout the year. And that's it for the very front section, my yearly overviews. Next, I've got my calendar, and this section does include both my monthly view and my weekly and my daily view. So I will show you that next. So first off, Here is December. I did put this in here because it's still December for the next day or two, and that way I just kind of have a reference as well for the last month of 2017. So this is how I've got it laid out right now. This is just a month on 2-page layout, and I went through and just wrote my tasks in, and then things that are work related are not highlighted, and things that are home related are highlighted. So that's how I've got that broken down. Also got January in here, same thing. I did break down my goals a little farther here for my monthly goals, and then same layout, month on 2 pages. It is a Monday start printable. I also have it available in Sunday start, but I prefer the Monday, so the weekends are together. I've got my zone cleaning here on the right side in the notes bar. And then I did use a little bit of washi tape again to mark which days I have off of school. I work at a middle school, so I just marked those with some washi tape. And again, I am keeping my monthly layout super simple. I just write everything on there. And then the things that are related to my home, I highlight in a color. And the things that are not related to home, that are work related, I leave unhighlighted. And I usually get very full layouts for my month because I have a lot of deadlines and little assignments that are due at different times for my job. So I try to keep it very simple, and that way I can just add to it anywhere, anytime. I don't need a sticker or anything else. I can just write on there with pen. I do future plan on these. I don't wait to write on it necessarily until the month before. I just need this to be super simple and functional, so that's why I keep it this way. I think by using some washi tape and then a corresponding color of highlighter, I like how it looks. It still is visually appealing to me without being too difficult to maintain, so that's why I do it that way. I do have February in here as well. You can see I've already started writing a few things on there, but I haven't done any highlighting yet. I'll do that as the month gets closer. And then for all the rest of the months, I'm actually using a new printable that I recently made, and it is a month on 1 page, and it just has the little monthly view up on the top for 2018, and then it has 31 lines, so no matter what month it is, you've got a line for each day. And of course there's some months like, I don't know, like June, where there's only 30 days where you've got an extra line. That doesn't bother me, so I just left it on there, and I figure I'll just use that line for notes or something if I need to. But this just is a really easy way for me to always have my calendars and then to be able to forward plan as well without taking up too much space in my rings. So I've just got a month on 1 page for each of the remaining months of 2018. So there's December. You can see I've already written some events and birthdays and things like that on there, and I will continue adding to those throughout the year. After my monthly pages, and I do just have all of this in one section, it doesn't bother me to have it together because I use these little rulers to divide. So this is where my monthly page is on this Filofax divider. That brings me to January. And then I have my weekly layout using this tab divider, which this one actually, and the other 2 that are in here, all 3 of these came from Staples. They are the Martha Stewart Collection divider tabs, and I did trim them down quite a bit to make them fit into a personal Filofax. Same thing with my big dividers that go down the side. I have 8 total dividers, you can see there, and these were originally half letter size, and I did just trim them down and repunch them to make them fit in this personal size Filofax. I do have a video showing how to do that if you're curious. I will put the link for that video in the description box below. So back to my weekly page. This is my current week. I'll take this out so you can see a little more clearly how I'm using it. So this is the weekly view that I found myself using the most in 2017. So it is what I'm gonna start the year out with in 2018. It really worked for me well, and it allowed me to stay pretty organized and have a clear mind throughout the year. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and stick with what's working. It is a week on 2 page with some section, most of it's lined. You can see kind of this lined section on each day. And then I also have 2 tracking boxes on each day. And that is where I'm using to track my workouts in the top box and then my dinner plans in the bottom box. And so that's what I'm doing for each week. And I did this for most of 2017, so I know that it will work for me, and I'm going to stick with that for a while. In the middle, I'm putting my daily page, and this is another printable that worked for me quite well in 2017. For those of you that have been watching me for a while, this printable I actually originally created in half letter size, and I was using it in my larger Filofax A5 size binder for most of 2017, but I just created it for the personal size as well because I missed having it. Let me show you a blank one. Let's see, blank week here. So here's next week. It's not quite blank, but you'll get the idea. So here is my next week. You can see I've got a week on 2 page horizontal with the tracking boxes. And then this is gonna go right here in the middle. These are my dailies, and they're actually 2 days on 1 page vertical. So that means that the whole week is on 3 pages because I've got Monday and Tuesday on the front, Wednesday and Thursday on the front, Friday and the weekend on the back, and then I also have a blank notes page on the back of the other page. So the reason why I have it set up like that, kind of out of order, is so that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday can all be visible at the same time as this half of my weekly layout. And then when I flip it over, Friday and the weekend are visible at the same time as this half of my weekly layout. And same thing with notes. I have my little notes section down here and notes on the back of this page. So I really enjoy being able to see everything all at once. Usually what I'll do is I'll fill out my weekly layout ahead of time, maybe on like a Wednesday the week before or something like that. And then the daily part, this little section right here, I fill that out just the night before or the morning of. And that's where I really break down my tasks. So for instance, next week on Tuesday, I go back to work on the day after New Year's, and I've got a big report due for work. So I know that I'm gonna end up using a ton of these lines over here on my daily page, breaking down all the different things that have to do with that big report and kind of listing them out so that as I'm working throughout the day, when I get interrupted, which I know will happen a lot, I can know where I left off and pick right back up. And that's why I like to have a lot of space to do a bunch of little to-dos throughout the day. So I hope that layout makes sense. That's what I'm going to be starting off with for 2018. And I do have my weekly pages dated and in my planner through the end of February, so 2 months worth. And then I also have daily pages for 2 months in here in the back. But these ones I did not date yet because sometimes I won't, like, I don't know, if I'm not working or something, if I take a day off, I might not use one of these pages or something. So I don't necessarily use them every single day. Most of the time I do, but that's why I left them undated so that I can just date them as needed and I don't end up wasting any pages. So that is the first section in my planner, the calendar section. I hope that you guys can excuse my voice a little bit. I do have a cold. I'm sure you can probably hear it in my voice, so I apologize if it sounds a little icky. Well, hopefully I'll be over this cold by the next time I film a video, so I apologize about that. Moving on to the next section of my planner. The yellow tab is my Fly Lady section, so that's where I'm keeping all of my routines. Got morning and evening routines, weekly tasks, daily tasks, and it's also where I'm keeping my zone cleaning information. So I'll turn this to the side here. You guys have seen these before if you've seen some of my videos in the past. This is where I keep track of my zone cleaning for each of the different zones in my house. So I've got one for my kitchen, one for my living room, office and half bath, one for my master bedroom and bathroom, one for my guest bedroom and bathroom, and then the extra spaces as well. I've got a blank one on the back in case I decide to add another zone. And then the last thing in my Fly Lady section is this zone cleaning task tracker. And this is really just kind of if I wanted to get all of my different things done for all of my zones all in 1 month, this is how I would organize it. It's kind of the ideal month, if you will. However, I rarely end up getting every single task done on any given month. Usually there's a few of them that I have to leave till the next month, which is just fine with me. That's why I have these trackers, so that if I don't do a certain task on a particular month, I know that I'll catch it the following month. So that's how my Fly Lady section is looking at this point. The next tab in my binder is my meal planning section. So first thing I've got in here is just a basic to buy list, just a bunch of scrap paper. This scrap paper I actually always end up with when I print off my inserts. If you have purchased any of my inserts before, you know there's always a little section in between the 2 pages that when you trim it all down, you end up with this extra little piece. And that's what I like to do with it, is just go ahead and hole punch it and clip the holes so that it's very easy to take in and out of my planner. And I just use that paper for scratch paper or brain dumps or grocery lists, often for grocery lists. And that way I'm not wasting it. I'm still getting use out of the extra scrap paper. So there's my grocery list section. I also have my meal plans in here. So I've just got a few of them in here that I've already made up. I like to keep meal plans in the binder so that if I don't want to think up a new meal plan 1 week, I can just use one that I've used in the past. And that way I've always got some ideas on hand. And I'm also going to keep my grocery lists that correspond with the different meal plans in here. That way when I go to reuse the meal plan, I can check up the grocery list and see what I needed to buy for those meals as well, just as a reference. So that's what I've got going on in my meal plan section. I also have some more blank pages in here that I will use when I'm ready. So this is a really simple printable. It just has on the menu on the top and then Monday through Sunday down below, all on 1 page. Okay, in the back here, I do have a page where I just put some different ideas for meals, and they're all pretty generic or vague. So like taco night, I could do fajitas, but that could be lots of different kinds of fajitas, chicken fajitas or beef fajitas or different kinds. So they're just kind of ideas to get me started. Veggie meals, quiche. So again, there's lots of different types of quiches I could make, but that's just an idea to jot my memory if I'm having a hard time making up a meal plan. So that's all I've got in my meal plan section. Next, I've got an info section, and this is where I keep all my lists for the most part, and some other things that I like to keep track of and have with me. So first, I've got my weekly planner review. So this is all the different things that I do on a weekly basis when I'm planning out my following week. I also put on the bottom of this page to remember my priorities, the things that are important to me. You know, I want to make sure that I'm keeping those at the top of my schedule every day instead of letting them fall through the cracks. So that's what I've got first. I also have a daily planner review. These 2 pages are slotted, so they're easy to pull in and out. And that way I can pull them out and use them up in my calendar section when I need them. I have a products list page. This is where I put the different products that I want to remember what size or what color. I've got my makeup products that I use most of the time listed out here so that when I'm at the store, I'm not trying to guess on what color I need or on what size or things like that. And I just add to this throughout the year. I always start with these things because I buy these often, but then if there's other things that I end up needing product information about, I just write it down below throughout the year. I also did keep a few things from my previous year setup. because I think it will still be helpful for 2018. So I've got some different ideas for activities to do in all 4 seasons of the year. So summer activities, fall, if I can turn the page, fall activities, winter activities, spring, and then I've got some different hikes that we would enjoy doing as well. And the ones that we have already done, I just checked off, and then ones that we haven't done are not checked yet. And I think I forgot the names of some of the hikes that we did last summer. I was looking at this yesterday when I was moving it into this new binder, and I'm like, I know we did more than 2 hikes over the summer, but I don't want to check off the wrong ones since I don't remember the name. So I'll just have to ask my husband. He's better at remembering that kind of stuff than I am. Next, I've got notes about my dog's vet and his medications and stuff. Nothing too exciting there. I also have behind that my passwords. I keep track of my accounts and my usernames and then hints for all of my passwords. Obviously, I've saved or clipped those together, so I'm not going to show you the filled out ones, but this is what it looks like blank. This one is a new printable. In the past, I had it laid out in the in the portrait orientation, and now I just made this new one in the landscape orientation. I really like this one better because in the personal size, if it's in the straight up and down portrait orientation, it just never felt like there was enough space to fit in my username and my password and the account and all of that info on one line. So I always found that really irritating, and I used to have one that had 2 lines per account, but then I found myself having a hard time finding the different accounts because there were 2 lines per account. So I don't know if that makes sense, but on this new one in the landscape orientation, I can have just 1 account per line with plenty of space to write all the different pieces about my accounts. So I really like this new one, and I did just get it up in the Etsy store. If you're having a hard time with your password tracker as well, check it out because it's nice. Having more space to write. My next tab is my budget section. So I did just get this ready to go for next year. So these are some spending trackers that are blank for now, and as soon as January starts, I'll start filling those out. Basically, I just write the date, the location or the item, and the amount. And really, the only things that I track very carefully is my grocery budget, just because that's something that I know I could decrease if I wanted to, and I'm trying to do a better job at making sure I'm spending my grocery budget wisely and not spending too much at the beginning of the month or that kind of thing, just for savings goals. So that's what I've got my spending tracker in here for. Next, I have some monthly bill trackers. You can see I've kind of covered that up as well for privacy reasons, but I've just got all the different account names, the amount, and then each month of the year. I did use this, here's a blank version. I did use this in 2017 as well, and I loved it. It was so nice to have all of the different monthly bills on one page so that over the course of the year I could easily compare. So like for utility bills, if I flip back up here, for my utility bills, I will put the actual amount that I paid throughout the month each year. And that way I can really see if one month I spent a lot more on electricity or water than previous months. And that way I know when we need to be smarter about leaving our lights on or that kind of thing. Obviously some months it's unavoidable if you've got heat on or things like that, but just a good thing to keep in mind to make sure that we're trying to be as energy efficient as possible. So that's why I like to keep track of everything on these pages. I did do the whole year on 2 pages. So you can see this first one is January through June. The second one is July through December. And that way it is a little easier to fit the actual amounts in the boxes. It's not so hard to squeeze in. So that's my bill tracker. Here I do have some personal budget financial information clipped together, and I just had notes in all of those pages. So it's just blank notes pages with my financial goals and different kind of calculations and things for budget goals. This is an update for my budget. So I don't do one of these every single month, but I do find it helpful to do an update every couple months or so, and that way I'm making sure that what we're planning to spend on our different bills is actually what we do spend on our bills, and I just kind of update it every couple months. So I am going to do an update in January. So you can see this is my budget printable, and I actually just posted one that is blank. I had quite a few people asking me to take the categories that I had listed on there off and make it so that they're more customizable and you can just put your own categories in. So that is what I did, and I'll kind of talk you through it real quick. So basically, this top section is for income. So that's where I put my income, my husband's income, and then my Etsy YouTube income. The next section is for the big monthly expense categories. So you can see I've got 8 categories here: housing, insurance, phone and internet, food, entertainment, car, pet, and health. And there's multiple different things that go into each one of these categories. So for instance, housing, I put a 1 next to, and over here in the breakdown, I've got a 1 next to rent, a 1 next to utilities, and a 1 next to water and trash. And that's where I'm gonna put the planned amounts and the actual amounts for all 3 of those things. And then the total goes over here next to housing. So I like to have a big summary and a breakdown for all of my different expenses throughout the month. So another example, food has a 4, and for food I've got groceries and also going out money. So that way I can see how much I'm spending on those 2 categories, and also the total amount for food in general. So that's where I'm gonna keep track of my planned and my actual for each of those different things. At the bottom here, I do have a summary where I put my total monthly income, my total monthly expenses, so that's everything added together, and then how much extra money we had, so that would all go into savings, our extra savings money. And then I'll also calculate the percentage of income that we spent, and that way I know what percent we saved. So that's what I like to do for every couple of months, just to make sure that we're on track for our financial goals. All right, the next section that I've got here is my weekly, or actually my health section. And the first thing that I've got in that section is my weekly health tracker. This is something new that I'm trying out for 2018. And basically it's just one quick view to see everything health related for 1 week. So I've got my days of the week, and then for each day I'm gonna write down all 3 meals, my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I'm also gonna track which days I took my vitamin, and that's something I struggle with, so I wanna make sure I make it a priority this year. I've also got a section to mark off how many treats I had that day, because again, that is something I struggle with, is sometimes having too many treats. So I'm just gonna check off when I've had 1 treat and 2 treats, and then I need to be done for the day with sweet things. So that's why I've got it set up that way. Down at the bottom, I've got space to write at least 4 workouts. If I have more workouts, I can always put them in the notes, but I'm trying to set myself up for success, that I'm wanting to get at least 4 workouts in every week, so I want to have those filled out no matter what, and then extras I can put in the notes section. So that's how I've got my health tracker set up. And I just have a bunch of those blank, ready to go for 2018 here in my planner. So I'm going to start filling those out on Monday. After that section, I do have, again, a little bit of personal health information, so I will just show you the pages. I've got medical notes, and that's just where I jot down when I go to the doctor, different things that I talk to the doctor about. I have dentist notes, same thing, things that I talk to the dentist about, and hair salon notes. I just started this one, so I'll just show you. I got a haircut back in June that I liked pretty well. It was a lot shorter than I usually go, so I just wrote out what I told her. So shorter than shoulder length, A-line, inverted bob, And that way, if I ever want to get a similar haircut again, I'll remember what I'm supposed to say to the hairdresser in order to hopefully get a similar haircut. And then I wrote down kind of what she told me about how to make sure it lies correctly on your shoulders and that kind of stuff. So that's what I've got for my hair section. I've also got some healthy snack ideas. I don't usually struggle too much with eating healthy snacks, more so meals, because I usually pack snacks ahead of time, so that way I end up eating something healthy anyways, but this is in case I'm ever getting bored with my snack choices. And that is the last thing in my health section. So my next section is my Plans Me Paper section, where I've got all things Etsy and YouTube. So this is something I just did earlier today, is getting some new inserts added to the shop and the different things I needed to do. You can see this is just one of those scrap pieces of paper that I like to write lists and kind of brain dumps on. So I used that for my to-do list. I also will have my YouTube calendar listed out. I'm hoping to stay on a very consistent posting schedule this year, so that's why I've got it ready to go here. I'm going to use one of my monthly month-on-one page inserts in order to write out what am I going to do on each week and each day to get my videos posted on time. So I'm going to get that filled out any day now. February, same thing. And then I'm just going to have note paper back here to write down ideas for videos. Last, I've got my work section. And this is for my job at the school, so my regular job. And this is just where I keep track of different notes that I think will be helpful in the future. So this was about a Google Forms that I had sent out and some ideas that I was thinking might have made it a little easier in the future. I did paperclip some of these together since they've got people's names on them. But then I've got more notes about how to make a master schedule better in the future. So I did it for the first time last year. And so these were just kind of my notes to self to think about for this coming year before I start. Same thing, kind of different things that we had to change later on that would have been helpful to think about ahead of time. And then I've just got a to-do list for any time I happen to have some extra time at work, which rarely happens, so they're not checked off yet. Need to get those done soon. But lastly, in my planner, I do have a little top-loading envelope. I did give in finally. I've been wanting these for a while, and I hadn't actually purchased them ever because they are kind of pricey for what they are, but I just love this style. So this is the Martha Stewart Dewdrops from Staples. They are available again at Staples, at least at my location they are. And you can see I've only used one so far. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to use these for. Maybe to do like recurring tasks. They are pretty easy to stick on paper and then peel back up and move somewhere else and stick again. So I might use them for things that I do every week and then just move them to the next week after I've done them. So that's my plan with those so far. I've also got a bunch of labels that I made. These are the Avery labels that I just printed color on. So I'm sure I will use those in the future also. I've got one stamp left. Need to go get some more stamps. And then just a note about my gym locker combination. And in the back here, I just have one more page of notes paper and then a few different credit cards. They're actually my insurance cards and my health savings account and my library card. In the back, since they do have my information on them, I'm gonna keep them covered up, but it's just a regular Filofax credit card holder, and I just keep those in here. The nice thing about keeping the cards in the back as well is since they are pretty firm, they act as a page lifter also, so they make it so that the pages don't get bent in the back. So that is everything that I have in my 2018 planner setup. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was a little long or if my voice is a little sick sounding, but I just wanted to get on here, show you guys what I've got going on. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down in the box below. I will be back soon with more videos, and as always, thanks so much for watching, subscribing, and liking, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!